Good morning. My name is Larry Simpson. I'm a principal software engineer in HNTB's Technology Incubation Group. Today I'll present a case study based on Pretty Notes. Pretty Notes is an internet cloud-based software application. It's used to manage the information generated during the architectural programming phase of a design project, or what we call BIM for early design. I have 4 topics that I'll discuss today. A brief overview of cloud computing components, a review of Pretty Notes and how it uses these components, integrating software applications using the cloud, and finally, what's next with cloud computing at HNTB. First, let's ask, what is cloud computing? Although we could easily have an entire conference on this question alone, I will give 3 short answers. First, it's an evolution of existing Web 2 technologies used to create software offered as a service. The Web 2 software development tools offer new possibilities for both user interface design and information processing, which when combined can lead to innovative tools to support new business processes. These applications often target specific business processes, as is the case of Pretty Notes and the architectural programming process, providing superior tools for the information processing task related to that particular business process. Second, some new technologies are emerging designed to take advantage of the software as a service model. These new technologies are just beginning to be used by software developers to make applications similar in design to Pretty Notes. And third, cloud computing requires new business models. New business processes will be possible, removing traditional boundaries between IT and architectural design, both within an organization and between companies, allowing better collaboration on design projects. New financial agreements and legal frameworks between companies and industry groups will be necessary to develop and support cloud computing applications. When you consider the features being offered by the different cloud computing suppliers, you will find that they generally fall into about a dozen categories, which I will call cloud services components. Ideally, one goal of cloud computing is that these components can be combined in different ways to design software applications that meet specific business needs. The hardware and application software would exist only in the cloud. While this is possible today, there are still obstacles that prevent components from different vendors from working together as a seamless system. Therefore, when choosing cloud services components, it will be necessary to carefully consider the ability of those components to work together. This may mean only using components from a single vendor. This list of components is described in more detail in my slide notes, along with links to books and articles that you may find useful for learning more about how they can be used. The first step in designing a software application is to understand the business processes that will use the software. This slide summarizes results from our review of the existing architectural programming process and how that process might be changed to use new software tools. In short, there would be a move from desktop applications to internet browser-based applications, a move from traditional Microsoft Office applications to Web 2-based tools, a move toward a more collaborative work process, and a move from manual to automated report generation. Together, these changes would require the entire collection of cloud services components. Keeping the new architectural programming process in mind, this slide shows the major design goals of a cloud-based software application to support such a process. These goals include the centralized database storage of all architectural programming data, a flexible, extensible user interface and database design, the ability to capture and organize rich textual descriptions of architectural elements, improve collaboration between design team members, allow interoperability with other design software applications, and automate the creation of the final client deliverable from the pre-design process. Now let's take a quick review of what we've seen so far. We now understand the kinds of cloud computing components. We have studied the business process we plan to move to the cloud. We have our major design goals established. And so next, it's time to design and build the cloud computing components. Now let's look at the cloud computing components used to create Pretty Notes. First, the business process we wish to move to the cloud is architectural programming. We've chosen the web browser with no add-ins as the target client software. We've chosen a Microsoft.NET 3.5 web application as the software platform. For the supporting infrastructure, we will use Microsoft Server with Microsoft IIS as the web server and Microsoft SQL Server as the database platform. To create the Pretty Notes software application, we will use the C# programming language with Microsoft ASP.NET using Microsoft Visual Studio as the development environment. The services we will make available in the cloud include over 100 custom functions. When you put all of these components in place, you then have a cloud computing environment for the architectural programming process. Here we see the Pretty Notes homepage. The first thing to do is to log in, so I'll enter my email, my password, and click the login button. Once you're logged in, you're presented with a list of projects from which to choose. I'll choose the Niagara Convention and Civic Center project. Once you choose a project, you'll see a list of administrative functions on the left of the screen and the main menu in the upper right corner. Just as a reminder, here's a list of the cloud computing components with those used so far highlighted in black and red. Next, I'll click Spaces in the main menu. That will open the Spaces page with an outline of all spaces on the project on the left-hand side of the page, and all of the rooms and other functional areas listed on the right-hand side of the page. The space outline can be easily customized for each design project. This flexibility allows Pretty Notes to address the design requirements for a wide range of project types. Here we see one outline for the Niagara Convention and Civic Center, another for the Fort Knox Human Resources Center, and another for the LAX Central Utility Plant. Each of these space outlines reflect the unique aspects of each design project. Once you have defined the spaces for a project, you can then use Pretty Notes to gather requirements for each space. To do this, you click Requirements on the main menu. Clicking Requirements takes you to the Requirements page. On the left of this page is an outline of all rooms and other functional areas entered on the Spaces page. You can drill down in this outline to see the individual rooms. When you select a room, its requirements are visible on the right side of the page. I'll select the Exhibition Hall. There are three major page sections related to requirements: the requirement category, the requirements themselves for each category, and any comments about those requirements. Each time a requirement or comment is edited, it's added to the database, along with a tag which identifies the person who performed the edit. This provides a complete history of all correspondence leading up to each final requirement. Each requirement and comment is immediately available for review by other design team members. This feature is like instant messaging, with each message being related to an architectural element within the design project. The Requirement History Report is available for each room within a project. It summarizes all correspondence between design team members for each room. With this report, the lead architect can quickly review the input from all team members. As an example, here Andrea entered a requirement for occupancy based on an area of 100,000 square feet. Don, the lead architect, questioned the square footage in a comment and then commented that the square footage should be 70,000 square feet. Andrea adjusted the occupancy requirement to use an area of 80,000 square feet. And finally, the blue text indicates that the final occupancy requirement used a square footage of 80,000 square feet. Next, we'll go back to the Requirements page to choose requirement categories for a newly added room. First, I select a new room in the Room Outline list. Then I select from a list of available requirement categories. The list of categories can be customized to address the needs of different project types. Choosing the Office list inserts the appropriate categories into the Requirements page. We now have a list of typical requirement categories used for an office and are ready to enter the detailed requirements for each category. Here, I enter the requirement for the function of the room and then save it to the database. One of the goals in developing Pretty Notes was to automate the generation of the architectural program, so I will briefly show how that was accomplished. To view the Reports page, you click Reports in the main menu. On the left of the page, you'll see an outline of the architectural program. It includes a cover, preface, space summary, detailed space square footages, detailed requirements for each room, and topic narratives. The right side of the screen provides tools to edit and print preview each report section. The number of report sections and their topics can be customized for each architectural programming project. The report sections are stored in the central database and can be reused on future projects of a similar nature. To generate the final architectural program, a user would click the Print Master Report button. The system would then generate the architectural program in Adobe Acrobat format, including a cover page, a table of contents, preface sections, a space summary, a detailed space summary for each room, and detailed requirements for each room. You can use the Acrobat bookmarks to navigate to a specific room. Here we see the detailed requirements for the exhibition hall. Altogether, there were 4 pages of requirements just for the exhibition hall. The entire architectural program for the Niagara Convention and Civic Center was 270 pages. Now let's take a look at approaches to data exchange between Pretty Notes and other software applications. There are 4 common ways of exchanging data: using a common data file format such as IFC, using an application programming interface such as Revit's API, using an intermediate data store such as Excel and Onuma, and using a central data store such as IFC model servers and Pretty Notes. Once the architectural program is stored in the cloud, it can be accessed by other applications using an internet connection. Let's take a look at how we can import this information into an Autodesk Revit BIM model. First, let's open a project in Revit. When the project opens, you will see an empty room schedule. If you click on the Level 1 floor plan, you will see 3 empty rooms. I'll use these to demonstrate the import of the architectural program into Revit. If you click Add-ins in the Revit menu, you will see a new ribbon bar. In this bar, you will see a Pretty Notes toolbar with 2 buttons, one to import the architectural program and another to view the architectural program. I'll click the Import button. A dialog opens that allows me to log in to Pretty Notes. Again, I'll enter my email and password, the same as in Pretty Notes, but this time from within Revit, and then click the Logon button. As in Pretty Notes, I'm given a list of projects from which to choose, and again I'll choose the Niagara Convention and Civic Center. I'll click the Import New Rooms button, and the import process will begin. I've now added the parameters, created the rooms, and now I'm importing the architectural program. Now that's complete. Now, if we take a look at the room schedule, we'll find that the rooms were imported from Pretty Notes and organized using the Pretty Notes space outline. We can scroll down and find the exhibition hall with its programmed area of 80,000 square feet. We can now go to the floor plan and insert the rooms from Pretty Notes into the floor plan. To do that, I select from a drop-down list of the rooms and place them in the floor plan. Now, to view the architectural program for each room, I select a room, and then on the Add-ins menu, I click the View Room Architectural Program button. And now we see the architectural program for the selected room. The architectural program for each room is now part of the Revit BIM model. Let's take a look at the architectural program for another room. There are a couple of things I would like to point out. The parameters on the left of the view are unique for each room, and the number of requirements per parameter can also be unique. Now let's take another look at the room schedule. What we'll find is that the exhibition hall now has a designed area since it's been placed within a floor plan, and the area coverage is automatically calculated. When storing information in a database, the structure of the database and the relationships between the information must be carefully defined. It is then possible to use this structure to map strategies for information exchange between different software applications. This slide illustrates the structure of the information in Pretty Notes and how it relates to the structure of elements in the IFC standard. By understanding these relationships, we were able to build on the IFC export features of Autodesk Revit to move Pretty Notes information between IFC compliant software applications. To demonstrate information exchange using IFC, I will now export the Revit BIM model containing the architectural programming data as an IFC file. I will then open this file using an IFC file viewing application. Now, I will select the IFC file that was exported from Revit and open it in the IFC Viewer application. There's a massing study in this file that shows the relative sizes of the spaces in the project. I'll select the largest space, which is the exhibition hall, and then we can see the IFC properties displayed in the center window. It includes the outline of spaces that was generated in Pretty Notes, along with all of the architectural programming information related to the exhibition hall. So, we have now seen that by storing the architectural programming information in the cloud, we were able to easily work with this information from within Revit. Also, the structure and relationship. Now let's look at another way to share data between applications. Here we see a mapping of Pretty-Notes Excel export columns to Onuma Excel import columns. We can use this mapping to create an Excel macro to transform the Pretty-Notes Excel export spreadsheet into an Onuma Excel import spreadsheet. Here you see an Excel file as exported from Pretty-Notes at the top of the screen, and an Excel file ready to import into Onuma at the bottom of the screen. This transformation is made possible by the structure of the data in each system created by storing the data in a relational database. In this case, both Pretty-Notes and Onuma Planning System are available in the cloud, with an Excel spreadsheet acting as an intermediate data storage device for each system. So, let's look at the design goals achieved by using the cloud. We now have centralized database storage of all architectural programming data, with the most current data being immediately available to any design team member, regardless of their geographical location. Pretty-Notes is both flexible and extensible. It's easy to address any type of architectural programming project. It's also easy to customize with no computer programming skills or special data entry templates required. We were able to capture rich descriptions of architectural features easily customized for each room in the project. We have improved communication and collaboration between team members during the architectural programming projects. For instance, the Niagara project that we saw earlier had 37 team members from 11 companies located in offices throughout the United States and Canada. Pretty-Notes allowed them to collaborate in real time while developing the architectural requirements for the project. Best practices are now captured by Pretty-Notes and then shared with others across projects. The structure of the Pretty-Notes database allows easy data exchange with other BIM software applications, such as direct import into a Revit BIM model. Users say that creation of client deliverables has reduced the time necessary to create an architectural program by about 40% and has led to more consistent, higher quality programs. Software deployment has been simplified by having only a single application in the cloud needing updates. Here I've included some links to cloud computing reference materials that go into more depth about the topics that I've covered in this presentation. The Cloud Computing and SOA Convergence in Your Enterprise is a good overview of cloud computing. The Berkeley Cloud Computing Study is a more academic approach to documenting cloud computing. It has many references that are useful. And then I included some links to new tools that are coming out based on cloud computing. So now let's look at the things that I have covered today. The 11 generic cloud computing components, the 4 most common approaches to data exchange, 7 advantages in using cloud computing for architectural programming, and some places to go for additional information about cloud computing. So now, what's next? Well, for me, there will be more custom BIM software development. For instance, adding more functions for use in later design phases, or partnering with others to define and automate design or design-related business processes using cloud computing. At HNTB, we know how to do cloud computing, and I would be interested in hearing what others have to say about new software applications they would like to see in the cloud. Maybe we could partner to make these applications come to life. Of course, we would like to hear from others interested in partnering with HNTB on architectural programming projects using Pre-D Notes as one of the tools. As handouts for today, I have some flash drives with this presentation and other information about HNTB, along with contact information. You're welcome to have one of these until the quantities run out. And finally, are there any questions you have today?